All right, guys, well, welcome back to Mullet Man Racing Channel. Today we're gonna start on some firewall stuff. As you can see, this piece that I had up there, that piece only went to about right here where the original fenders ended actually, and about right there too. So since we're not gonna be putting original fenders on, we're gonna be doing fiberglass to where we can take the fiberglass fenders off and on. We're gonna be able to see all this stuff. So I'm gonna cover up all the holes with just a whole one-piece firewall. So we're gonna work on that today. We're gonna work on some leaf spring stuff in the back. I got some front buckets coming for that, so we'll have another video coming out of installing those. Those are gonna be really badass. I'm really excited to check those out and see that you can change the ride height pretty good with those. So we also have the cam coming from Isky this week too, should be here. So we can probably take that engine up to the engine builder this next weekend, get that going, and then bring it back and put it in the car and start lining everything up and seeing where everything's gonna fit. So if you guys like what we got going on here at Mullet Man Racing, drop a like, subscribe, comment, tell us what you like, what you don't like, and hopefully we'll have some more content coming out for you guys here pretty soon. We got a bunch of parts rolling in, so it's gonna be just throwing this thing together, and can't wait to see this thing running again. It's gonna be badass when we're done, and hopefully it's fast. That's the plan. So, all right, guys, enjoy. All right, so as you guys can see, we got kind of a rough draft of the firewall here. So the good thing about cardboard is you can mess up like this. Like I'd like that to be tucked up in there a little bit nicer, but you know, it's cardboard, it's cheap, it's easy to cut, it's way cheaper than metal. So like I messed this up here, I cut that way too short all the way down. So you just put arrows on it, and if you really want, you can come back with another piece of cardboard and make it better, make it a better rough draft, and then that way you don't really have to mess around with the metal so much. And that's what I might end up doing, just to make sure, because I mean, metal's just, it can be expensive. You start messing up some of the sheet metal, and you start spending a good fortune in sheet metal and all that stuff. So I think we got a pretty good rough draft here. We can get another piece of cardboard and just pretty much exaggerate where those arrows are, and then always just trim back. So that's probably what we'll end up doing here, but this is a pretty dang good rough draft, and I like this. This part right here where the firewall starts to cave in, and I can show you guys this actually. So see how it kind of caves in? That's really hard. I was gonna cover all this down to here and just follow that line, and then this is where the throttle cable is gonna come through and all that. I was gonna follow this all the way here, but it's just so hard to cave it in that I think I'm just gonna leave that, and everything for the wires that come into the engine bay, I'll put like a firewall through connector here, and I'll just use that hole as the through firewall, and leave everything else covered and looking like one piece nice. And then what I'll end up doing too is I'll cut these out. I'll cut out little divots right here, because as you can see, they're little channels. So I'll cut those out along there to go along there. And then I just got to figure out something to patch that with. And I might even actually run a piece that comes over here and runs all the way down the side. So it'll just cover that piece, run down the side just from here to the other piece, and just make it look really nice. And that way there's no big channel here. So, or I might just weld it up and just put a piece of sheet metal in here and just tack it in there and just clean it up or something. I don't know. I'm not really sure what I want to do with that yet. But I was going to cut this dash out, but as you can see, we got some rust right here. And this other side has really bad rust. And I think this one's going to have to be cut all the way down here. So in the original glass, there was a crack right down in here in this corner. And I think before I bought the car, it was probably sitting outside, and it got some water down in here, and it just rusted all this out. And this is what the window was sitting on here. So I think this is going to have to all be cut out. This might be able to be cleaned up a little bit, but I think all this down here is going to have to be cut out and redone. So I don't really want to mess with that right now. What I might do later is just cut it from here along there, and then when I take it to the chassis shop, just have them cut this piece out and build a new lip in there for the window and make it look nice and clean, and just get rid of all that rust, because it's even rusting a little bit down here too. So but everything else, the whole channel up here all along the window's good, so I don't have to worry about that. It's pretty much just down here. So I'll focus on that later, but this is a pretty good rough draft of the firewall, and I think it's going to look a lot better than having a bunch of holes everywhere and just putting like Allen heads or whatever, Allen heads with big washers, because that's what I did on some of these holes, like this one right here, on these two. Sorry, these two right here. I just put Allen heads, that one too right there. So stuff like that, that's okay, but I don't want them all over the firewall. I think that looks jank, and just doesn't look clean. So a one-piece firewall, and I'm not sure if I want to bolt this in yet, because I got little rivet nuts, and what I could do is I can just rivet nut them in here and put like Allen heads in certain places, and kind of be able to take the firewall on and off. But I'm not sure if I want to do that or if I want to weld it. I mean, because if I weld it in, it's pretty much in there. So I'm not sure what I want to do with that yet, but that's later on down the road. I'll just, when I get the sheet metal, I'll build it with sheet metal, and then I'll just put Clecos in it and have it held there until I decide what I want to do with it. So, but came out pretty good. So I like using cardboard first before anything. Gives you kind of idea of what you got. And this right here too is like really satisfying for me for some reason, because coming over the master cylinder, there's a kind of a lip here. It kind of goes up in. Let me see if I can pull this tape off here. Yeah, So see, there's a lip right there. So if I can get the piece of sheet metal to ride on the top of this lip right here, just like that, I think that would look really good, and it would sit in there well, and it would just look clean. So that's the plan, but yeah.